Hello, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And it's been a while since I've had one of these kind of sit down videos, but it's nice to get back at it in this style of video. I had something on my mind today that I wanted to speak on, which is how fasting can set you on a path of alignment. And I'm not even necessarily talking about fasting in the sense of primarily food, although food is a great example, but fasting really shouldn't be thought of with just food. It expands its horizons everywhere. It's anything that you get dopamine from, you rely on, I guess, in a sense. Not so, like we can't stop eating forever, but there's some other things. For example, like listening to music. We could fast from listening to music. Fasting, that is just an example that fasting does not necessarily have to be food, and I think that it's honestly is very useful when applied to food. But there's other things that could be just as usefully applied to that I think we got to kind of normalize considered fasting, and I think music is one of them because we got to be reflecting a lot on what we're listening to. And that's not to say that all music is terrible, but I'd say 90% of the music industry is very, very corrupt. I believe personally it goes down to demonic attachments that artists have, maybe not even intentionally. I think much of it is intentional, but I even believe even subliminally it'll peer through. If someone has a demonic attachment and they don't even know it, so they might not even intentionally be making something low vibration, but it could seep through in that manner just by proxy of their attachments and their own vibration. Whatever you create is a product of you, so if you're not high vibration, what you create is most likely going to be not high vibration, but you could also be a low vibration person, I guess, and have the intention to create, to increase and expand your vibration. That's the good way of going about it that way. Sorry, I'm a little bit off topic there. I want to kind of get back to the idea of fasting. In my life, fasting kind of started off with just food. I mean, that's how I interpreted it to begin with, and I really needed the help with food. Growing up, I kind of was, I would say, overweight, unhealthy, and I believe that my nervous system was heavily impacted by the gross food I was eating, like junk food. I'm very happy to say that now I'm in a much better state with my food consumption, what I'm eating, how it affects my vibration, and now I actually am able to see how it really does creep in and affect your vibration. And eating candy, chips were my arch nemesis. I mean, I loved them, but they did not love me. They attacked my body. And it came out through the face, expanding stomach, and you could just tell I was always tired looking. I was kind of depressed, and I was in a spot where I didn't want to be like that, but I mean, I wasn't doing anything to change it. So whenever the idea of fasting came into my mind, and I was reintroduced to it later on, this is whenever I was kind of initially having my proper spiritual awakening, you could say. I was awake to government stuff, all of that evil before, but I wasn't necessarily as aware of my own vibration and the actions that I were doing that were affecting my vibration. And this is whenever I was kind of coming into realization with that and trying to shift my intention. My intention was shifting in favor of alignment. I wanted to be aligned. I didn't want to continue on the old ways. I wanted to shatter those old habits, cycles, loops, patterns. And then the idea of fasting came back out. I think I started off with the 24-hour fast was my intention. It might have not even intended to be that long, but I kept going. I got there, I felt fine, I wanted to continue on. So I went even beyond my expectations with that. And then with my intention, whenever I set, before beginning the fast, I really intended that I wanted to fix my relationship with food and shift in favor of eating things that are going to be increasing my vibration, that are in alignment with me, or they're going to aid my body in healing and growing and prospering. And I'm just going to tap into that abundant, energetic state of clarity and vitality that you get whenever you're in pure light in any way that you can, but especially sustaining your body with things that are aligned with pure light and not things that are aligned with rot, decay, like junk food. Whenever you're eating proper nutritional food, you're gonna feel great. And in combination with like the intention of increasing your vibration, that's even amplified further. So not to get off track again, I'm gonna go back into fasting. So I did it with the intention. I ended up going, I think, maybe 27 hours or so, my first ever time fasting, and then I broke it with some Thai food. A little bit of a celebration because I love Thai food, Vietnamese food. But I went out, got some Thai food, any excuse to eat out, which I kind of need to work on. But hey, eating out is good. It might not be the best for you, but I gotta keep that under control. It's good to eat out when you feel called to it, but not every single day. Sorry. Back on track. Whew. Straight path, we're going down. And I am just transmitting some chatter there, and now I am back. Sorry, I don't even know what that was. Back to fasting. And it felt great after I did that, and naturally it came more natural to me to eat healthier and not want to eat junk food as much, and it was easier to shove away that urge whenever it came. Woo! Oh, that gimbal movement, nice. And so I did that more often, and holy crap, I started to slim down, and I was feeling better than ever. I had more energy, I had more vitality, more clarity, and the pure light that I was allowing into my life was amplified, and that's because I shifted my intention in an ambitious, productive way. I was persistent just because I was like that in the past, low vibration, unhealthy, feeding myself with rot, really, and knowing that, but deep down inside not being ready to get rid of that. This intention showed that I was ready to move on. I was ready to grow. And it just naturally unlocked a pathway in my mind and my consciousness that I wasn't even able to access before. But that's because I practice with my intention. I exercise my intention. It really is like physically exercising. You got to put in the work to get the gains, right? And then whenever you do put in the work, what you lifted before will feel so much easier to lift. So it's a perfect everything that is meaningful. There's a metaphor for it in life. That's one amazing way God created the world. That the world reveals itself through itself. Observing one aspect of the world, yeah, you can really reflect on your own life and make the correlation to that metaphor. Back on track, getting off again. And so I noticed that there were other areas in my life where fasting was really necessary. Areas where I was consumed by dopamine addiction. So music, for example, I went through a long phase where I was obsessed with doom scrolling Spotify, and that's because you really do get an energy off these songs, and it can affect your vibration depending on what you're listening to. And I'm not saying that all music is bad. There's good music out there, but it's still, even whenever I was listening to good music, I still have that attachment where I kind of have this feeling where music isn't taking up the space in my life that it should. Like maybe I am still very attached to it in a way that is, I guess, not healthy. So it's the way that music was interfacing with me. So I decided that I was going to have a fast from music. If it worked for shifting my intention with eating and actually helped with the results and making it easier to keep in alignment with the decisions I was making and make sure they were aligned with my highest path, then maybe it could do the same with music. Maybe it could do the same with really everything that you're trying to cut down on, fully get rid of, and just shift intentions with. Maybe fasting is the answer for shifting those intentions. I had those thoughts come in, and I did a music fast, and for a while it had not as strong of a hold, a grasp on me that it did. And I still loved music, but I wasn't really as attached and fully gripped on that and distracted, I guess, in a sense. And that worked for a bit, and then I went back to music, and I kind of fell out of that, the fasting from music, and I kind of get in the same loop again. But now I'm back on another music fast, getting in alignment with that. And we gotta, periodically, that's why we gotta do consistent fasts. Because you get a result from a fast one time doesn't mean that you're going to lose those gains potentially if you don't continue to fast from it consistently, if you know what I mean. Like, if you fast from something and go right back at it the way that you were before, maybe your intention hasn't shifted. You got to continuously over time go back and continue to strengthen that thing, especially with things that are deeply ingrained and programmed within us. It takes time to unravel that. It takes time to even reflect, or to know what to reflect on, for that matter. But God gives us the grace, so we got to give us the grace, and we got to be consistent, persistent. Go back to that fast, and it'll be fast that you will heal. That was a little bit interesting, wouldn't you say? So why don't we try implementing the idea of fasting into all facets? That's not a word, is it? All aspects, all areas, every single little area of our life that we feel we have our energy kind of tied up to, or in a way that is maybe not most aligned. What if we could rewire that with fasting? What if, for example, I'm trying to think of another thing we could fast from. Pick my brain. If you're into video games, I guess, movies, entertainment, really any form of entertainment and dopamine addiction, why can't you take a break from that and maybe reflect on the prospect of fasting? If you reflect on the idea of fasting and going through with that, and it just seems incomprehensible, like, how could I do that? Why would I even do that? Maybe you got to reflect on the grasp that thing has on you. Why is it so strong? Why can't you let it go even just temporarily? Maybe so you could focus on other things. Is it because you are scared that you might have to fully let go of it and you don't want to? And you know that fasting would have to mean that? I think that would be a great example. And if you're watching porn, with porn, you shouldn't even necessarily be fasting. You just need to get fucking rid of that shit. But fasting can be also a stepping stone to getting rid of something for good that maybe you're not ready at the moment, I guess, to get rid of for good, but you need to take some kind of step, shift your intention in some way. Even that little spark will ignite into the next spark. You see the success of a fast, maybe you'll be inspired to get rid of that thing for good. And don't just accept that you have to live with something that you know is affecting your energy like that. You really gotta take some action, take some initiative, and recognize that no one else is responsible for that but you. Only you can take that action, can take that step. And only you can step aside and observe, okay, how is this thing affecting me? Are you content with just being ignorant to that? Because you aren't ready to accept changing? Or, hey, I'm going to change. I might not know how it's going to work at this moment, but I'm going to shift my intention in a way that's going to draw in light and make things easier. I'm going to get those gains. It's getting the same weight is going to be easier to lift next time. Maybe it won't even be weight at all at some point. That'll just be like lifting air. I mean, that's like me with porn. I could care fucking less. The idea of it completely revolts me. I would never go back to it. And it's crazy to reflect on the fact that at one point I watched it. And the idea of getting rid of it back then, it felt like I was fucking lifting a mountain. I wasn't sure how it was going to get done. But I took the step to take accountability. Regardless of if I knew how it was going to work, I took accountability, and just like fasting, that shift of intention, there was a breaking point. A switch flipped at some point. Something had to change. I couldn't keep going back and forth between hot and cold. I had to be one or the other. Something is going to get brittle and snap, and just like that, I was gifted grace, and miraculously, that pathway was kind of degenerated in my brain and powered off. We got rid of that power for that section. That thing doesn't need to be gone down anymore, that road. And I was no longer fighting. That fight didn't exist. That thing didn't exist. I didn't have to worry about it. And part of this was getting rid of demonic attachments, praying for that to be gone every day. And I think part of that had to do with The intention shift had to do with getting rid of demonic attachments, asking for those to be gone away. Succubus from watching porn, demonic attachments, lust spirits, lust demons, hexes, curses, spell work, voodoo. Just asking for all of that to be gone every single day, clearing away all of those dark attachments, the dark desire, whatever, getting rid of it, making sure that I was praying over myself daily and inviting in pure light. And that helped me with shifting my intention, asking for guidance, asking for protection, discernment, intuition, and actually following through on it, taking action, asking for help, taking action, and just admitting where I'm at and inviting in authentic truth and not worrying and just letting my discernments, my true discernments, take the reins and following through on it. And it became easier doing that daily. So that just kind of goes to show how fasting and intention is everything. And you need to be starting to do it in your life. If there's anything that you have that strong attachment to that feels like it's honestly torturing your soul, I couldn't describe it in any other way. You really gotta consider, are you going to continue going down that road, or are you going to take some action to get on a better road that's more aligned with your purpose, your highest timeline? Are you going to gift yourself or accept the gift of grace that God gave you and take the higher road? It's hard, and I don't judge you for being where you're at if there's something that you're still struggling with, because there is for me too. But if it's really affecting you that much, you gotta reflect on it and shift your intention and come to terms with the idea of getting rid of it. How much better your life would look without it. And the love, the letting go of that, will let in. Yeah, and miracles will be worked. Fasting and shifting your intention is amazing. I love you guys so much, and so it is.